Welcome back to the Powerlifting America pregame show at the Sub-Junior and Junior World Championships in Romania. This is the biggest Sub-Junior and Junior World Championships ever with 650 lifters. Over 55 countries are represented, and we are now on day 9. So we have 2 more days after this, so 10 and 11. And today is day 9. So on the pregame show, what we're going to do is we're going to recap what happened yesterday, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen today. But before we get too many into the details of the stories of yesterday, just want to quickly mention that today on day 9, in the first session, we have 2 lifters for Powerlifting America in the 83 kilo junior class in Connor Heim and Alex Sador. In session 2, it's the 93 kilo sub-juniors, which Powerlifting America has no 93 kilo sub-juniors in that session, so we'll have that session off. And then in session 3 today, we have a epic showdown between Shane Nutt in the 93 kilo junior class and Peyton Johnson, a rematch of one of the closest battles from nationals in Scottsdale just a few months ago. So that's what we have on tap today. We're on day 9. There's been a lot of amazing stories happening at these world championships since they've kicked off like what feels like a month ago. And one of the big stories that we just made a couple reels out of in the last 12 hours or so is of Kyle Nowak and the way that he won the world championship for Powerlifting America just 2 days ago in the 66 kilo class. The 66 kilo men for the U.S. national team absolutely put on a show, both of them stealing world titles, both of them coming out and putting up huge performances that broke world records, breaking the world record on the deadlift for Kyle Nowak, breaking the world record on squat and total for Danny Harris in the 66 kilo sub-juniors. But a big storyline was Kyle Nowak's performance in the 66 kilo junior class. He won the world championship, yes. He ended up winning fairly handily by 20 kilos, 22 and a half kilos with a 667.5 kilo total, which is a great total. And but he would have cruised to an easy victory if it weren't for some slight mishap in that. I want to clarify exactly what's happened here, because now that it's been posted on social media, there's starting to be like a lot of questions of exactly what happened. A lot of people will notice if you look at the score sheet, Kyle on the score sheet had a 185 deadlift opener. And if you know anything about Kyle, he ultimately pulled a world record 302.5 on his second attempt. So 185 is a super low number. And the reason why that number is what it is because our coach, our raw coordinator, Vin Mangione, actually accidentally wrote down 185 instead of 285. And the opener should have been 285. Now, if you know the way that the competition works, Kyle, if he was opening with 285, would have been at the very end of the flight. And I believe it was a 14-person flight. Yeah, it was a 14-person flight. So that means that he would be taking his last warm-up right around the time when the flight was starting off. So he had literally just taken his last warm-up in the warm-up room, and he had walked over to the staging area where he was getting baby powder applied and things like this, and he's sitting down. And the previous flight, the flight that Danny was in, the 66 kilo sub-juniors had just finished, and the board changed over to the 66 kilo juniors, and at the top of the list, whose name and face is out there appearing on the big screen, is Kyle Nowak, who literally just sat down after pulling his last deadlift warm-up in the warm-up room. So, needless to say, everyone on our team was like, what is going on? Why is his name up there? Why do they have him in as a 185? Tom Beal, one of the assistant coaches who's been here all week and done just an absolutely amazing job, a huge calming presence in the warm-up room, is yelling at me, where's Vin? Where's Vin? Where's Vin? Like, there's a problem. And I'm like looking at the board and I'm like, oh, shoot, like what is the problem? And I look over and I see Vin is already at the scoring table. He's already trying to correct the mistake. But unfortunately, there's nothing you can do because you can only change your opener one time. So regardless of whether we had caught it or Vin knew about it or not, that it was in as a 185, there was nothing that you could do to change it at that point. So once you make a typo, you accidentally write down a 1 instead of a 2, and you put it into the scoring table, and the scoring table puts it into the computer, it's done. It's a done deal. That's locked in as a 185. Now, Thank God he didn't write a 3 instead of a 2, and had it been 385 or something like that, because then he wouldn't have been able to pull it and would have missed. Thankfully, it was 185, and we were able to go up to 302.5, which was his planned second attempt, which is a world record attempt, and that was all he needed on the day. He ended up actually only making that one deadlift. So what did he do? There was a kind of a last second choice. Literally, as we're looking and we see that Kyle's name is up on the board, there's a clock, a 60-second clock running to make the lift. And Kyle is pretty far away from the platform. He's on the complete other side of the staging area. He would have had to run through a crowd of people who are all expecting to be first up to lift and run out and pull that 185. And there was some thought that maybe he should do that. Maybe he should run out and try and pull that 185. But really, 185 is so low for him, it really would not have done anything. Of course, it would have got him on the board. It would have helped him secure a total. So the coaches and Tom Beal kind of really took charge of the situation at that point. While Vin was talking with the scoring table, Tom took Kyle over and said, don't worry, this has happened before. I've seen this happen before. It's no big deal. We'll pull your opener here in the warm-up room at the exact same time that you would normally pull it, around 14th in the flight. And it'll be just like you went out and lifted it on the platform. We'll give you the commands. We'll do everything to the strictest standard. We'll give you feedback on how the lift moved, everything like that. We'll treat it. We will have you walk out exactly like it will be on the platform. You'll do your whole pre-lift ritual that he does, which if you know Kyle, he has a whole big thing where he puts his arms out and walks up and does a little squat and all this. So, okay. Tensions are getting calmer. Tom Beal's voice itself is just a calming presence. When you hear his voice, it just immediately mellows you out. And so, we're starting to get a hold of ourselves. I think Kyle, the coaches, obviously, and all of our team that was back there, we were really hard on ourselves because every single one of us could have seen that number on the board and prepared for it better. Whenever we saw that that the wrong number was put in, but we didn't. So it was what it was. We were kind of freaking out. Kyle himself was actually extremely calming. He was laser focused. He said, no big deal. I'm going to smoke this, and I'm going to smoke my second attempt on the platform, and it's going to be no big deal. Don't worry about it, guys. So it was funny because if you go back, every day after the World Championships, we're doing live press conferences in here with all of our athletes, and so far every single athlete that's competed has come in and given a press conference. And Kyle mentioned in there that, he actually calmed the coaches down, which is pretty funny because obviously the coaches were really, really nervous about what might happen. This could be a massive, massive mistake for the U.S. national team. And thankfully it didn't end up being a massive mistake. He did pull that world record on his second, but to make tensions get even higher, if it wasn't already enough, if it wasn't already scary enough that we had a lifter calming the coaches down because they were freaking out. We had Tom Beal saying everything is going to be okay in his amazing voice. That's always a great calming presence. Kyle goes to pull his opener in the warm-up room, and he misses it. Absolutely misses it. Gets it up above his knee, starts shaking, can't lock it out, and then drops it. And oh my God, now we are really shitting ourselves. No doubt about it. We are freaking out. And Kyle, again, to his credit, he was laser focused. He said, no big deal. He said, I know what I did wrong. I know I let the bar get away from me a little bit. I know I didn't build the tension up right. I was impatient. He had a lot of things that he was going to correct. And so, of course, being a true world champion that he is, he locked in, put his headphones on, went back over to the staging area where he went before, only to find out that the bar had been misloaded or the wrong attempt had been put in, and gets ready to pull. All of his coaches, Kedrick Kwan, who did his nutrition, John Burford, the head coach of the U.S. national team, Vin, and Tom Beal, all of them are coming over and telling him little words of encouragement. Tom actually had a really amazing moment with him. You can see it in both the reel that we posted and the reel that Kyle posted as well. It's on Powerlifting_America right now if you want to go take a look at that. You can see that Tom gave a little prayer over him as well. And it was really something. It was really, really a special moment to witness. And sure enough, Kyle goes out. The crowd is going crazy. I had gone out to the crowd multiple times in between when the wrong attempt had been put in, and when he pulled his opener in the warm-up room, and then again after he pulled his opener. Multiple times I went out to the crowd to tell our athletes that were all in the crowd, I was like telling them, you guys have to get up and scream for Kyle. Like, he needs the energy. And when he missed his opener in the warm-up room, I went back again and I said, you guys in this crowd need to give him so much energy. You need to will that bar up for him. And every single person around you needs to be on their feet and screaming. And sure enough, Kyle gets to the door where he's about to walk in. He's putting chalk on his hand, and the crowd is just screaming, USA, USA. And he comes out. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. He comes out, walks out, does his normal ritual, his normal pre-walkout. He's got the crowd hyped up as he's walking out, and goes out and just obliterates his second attempt, which was really his first attempt on the platform, a 302.5, hits a world record, celebrates, comes running off. He gives Vin like the biggest hug you could ever see. Like, he actually blew Vin up a little bit. I'm sure Vin was a little bit sore after that, because just kind of like to say, like, man, I got you, bro. Like, I covered you. We made it right. And don't worry, I got you. And then goes into the warm-up room, and everyone's just crying and everything. And it's just like such an emotional moment. Everyone's coming over and congratulating him. And then, of course, he's got tears, and Meg Carey's back there, and they're hugging and everything. You can see all of this on the footage that Kyle posted and in the video that we posted as well. And it was just an amazing moment. I think it's a story that will go down in history. It's definitely something that anyone that was a part of it on our team will remember forever, that Kyle will for sure remember. The way that he became world champion, I mean, he won by, like I said, 22.5 kilos. He easily could have cruised to victory, and there wouldn't really have been much of a story here. It wouldn't have been that exciting. But he told me afterwards, we went out and had a celebratory dinner and everything like that, and he said he loves those moments. Like, he feeds off of that pressure, and that he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. That it made it exciting for him. The pressure, the missed opener in the warm-up room. He just absolutely loves all of that. So I think it just goes to show like what kind of person he is, the type of competitor, a true world champion. And he's also currently sitting as second best lifter in the world at these world championships in the juniors. So hats off to him. But an amazing story. So I just wanted to kind of clarify the whole story, because I see that there's like a lot of comments, a lot of questions, like why was 185 put in? What's wrong? Like, was he hurt? Like, what? No, he wasn't hurt. There was no other thing. It was literally just a brain fart on the part of Vin Mangione, our head coach, our raw coach, for the raw coordinator for the classic team. Just writing down a 1 instead of a 2. Simple as that. As simple as a tiny typo. And thankfully, it all worked out in the end. Could have been a huge, huge problem, but it wasn't. And Kyle erased the problem. And, as they say, winning makes everything better. And Kyle walking away with the world championship is truly amazing. And breaking a world record in the process. So great performance. So just wanted to clarify that. It's an amazing story. It's something I'll definitely have Kyle on the podcast as soon as he gets back and gets settled in. And we can talk all about it and his mindset and how he overcame everything like that. And we'll get the whole story from his words as well. And also, of course, we've already done a post-competition press conference with Kyle. You can go back and listen to that. And he gives tons of praise for the U.S. national team coaches and every other facet of the game, how well prepared we were, how great the warm-ups went, how great the execution of all the attempt selection leading up to that point. Everything was perfect except for one number written down on a piece of paper was wrong, and that simple mistake led to something that I think none of us will ever forget who experienced it. One of the most amazing stories to come out of these world championships, if not the most amazing story to come out of these world championships. Although Bella Vargas almost bombing out on deadlift was also, an amazing story as well. And there's several others too. But yeah, since this just happened and we wanted to, and we've been posting the videos for it now, a couple of reels out there on that, wanted to go ahead and clarify what was going on with that. All right, so getting into what actually happened yesterday, since we did talk about Kyle the day before as well. Yesterday we had, in the morning session, we had Carolyn Connor, the junior 69 kilo lifter, and she did great. She went 9 for 9, as she always seems to do. She mentioned to us afterwards that she's never missed a squat in competition, which is amazing. So, I mean, Carolyn is off to an extremely, extremely bright career so far, only competing at the highest level. And I'm looking at the score sheet now, and it looks like It looks like it does not have our 69 kilo juniors uploaded yet, but let me see if I can refresh. But Carolyn had an amazing performance, needless to say. She told us what her total was yesterday. And I think it was like 477, something like that. And she had put something like 70 kilos on her total from the Junior World Championships in Turkey to these Junior World Championships here. And she would have finished, I believe, in like 11th place in the Open at the World Championships in Malta this year if she had competed and put up this total. So she's one of the top 20 lifters in the world for sure in her weight class. I think, like I said, I think she would have finished like around 11th with the total that she put up. So that is really amazing. She continues to really impress. She's only ever lifted at the highest level, lifting at nationals, open nationals, world championships, junior nationals, and now the world championships again. So hats off to her. Definitely go back and check out her post-competition press conference. She fought through a little bit of adversity with her goals yesterday. She wanted to set a world record squat, but the other ladies in her flight had other plans and had pushed up the world record so high and ahead of her that she wasn't able to go for that world record. And she had a really good mindset about it. She said that it was something that ended up being a blessing because she wasn't going to chase that number. But if that number had been there and available for her to chip, then she might have, and she probably wouldn't have had it on the day. So she ended up being a blessing in disguise. She was able to go 9 for 9. She finished in 4th place. And so a really great performance from Carolyn Connor. We also had in session 2, we had Amelia Gherkin and Jessica Kinney in the 76 kilo sub-junior and juniors respectively. And Amelia was really kind of stole the show with how happy and fun she was throughout. I think she ended up coming in nominated something like 9th and finishing also around in that same position, but really stole the show with her attitude and her spirit, just having a ball in there. Really one of the best lifters to hang out with. She had some really funny things happen to her, like she didn't have her deadlift socks on, and she almost missed her opener because she had to run back all the way over to the warm-up platform where her stuff was, get her deadlift socks on, and then run back out. She, I think, got to the bar with like 12 seconds, something like that, and was able to still pull it, get her opener in, and run off the platform. And the TC was directing her to go through a door, the other door, as she was, you're supposed to come in one door and out the other. And she thought he was reaching out to give her a high five, so she slapped his hand. Just an amazing, hilarious. Go back and listen to the press conference we did with her yesterday. These sub juniors, they speak so well. Like in her press conference, I kind of put her up on the press conference with Carolyn Connor, who has world championship experience, been here for a year, has competed at the highest level, has done these press conferences before. I think she did a press conference in Austin after Open Nationals, which was the first time we did it. And then she also did a press conference in Scottsdale. So I wanted to put her up here at the press conference with someone who is like a savvy veteran that could kind of lead the way. And again, Amelia surpassed all expectations, gave an absolutely spectacular press conference yesterday. So go and watch that. Then we also had Jessica Kinney and her coach Craig Lemieux in the 76 kilo junior class. She was in an epic battle, really like a 5-way battle. It was really fun. The 5-way battles are the most fun for everyone on our team with the coaches and everything, because it really becomes a numbers game. It really becomes, that's where you see how competitive and how much of a sport powerlifting really is, because any slight mistake on the coaching staff, putting in the wrong number, putting in an attempt that the lifter can't get, anything like that is going to make a huge difference, where you could possibly be pulling for 2nd place and be up there on the podium in Jessica's case, or you could be off the podium or even in 5th or 6th place in the case in Jessica's class, where it was extremely competitive. She did end up finishing off the podium. She finished in 4th place, but no fault, of course, to any coaches or anything like that. It was just a matter of she had 4th place locked up and was able to pull for 2nd, and she, her coach decided that it was more important to try and pull for 2nd. She ended up not getting it. It would have tied her PR total. And, she talked about it afterwards, that there was a little bit of hiccups at the very end of her prep with deadlift training, coming over here to Malta, or to Romania, to Cluj, and, where she basically had to skip her last deadlift session. That made it so maybe that was something that had affected her peak and her strength, but her squat was on point. Everything else was on point. She was having herself a perfect day, and, was in a position to pull for placing and that's what you always want. And she just didn't quite have the strength there that day, but she was really happy, really positive about it. I believe it was her last year as a junior, so she'll be going up and trying to compete for the Open, to make it onto the Open national team. And we asked her point blank in her press conference, and she said yes, that's her goal. She's coming to the Open, that she's going to try to make it back to the World Championships next year in the Open division. So for all of the 76s out there in the Open division, be on notice. Jessica Kinney is coming. She's adding a lot to her total. She's a seasoned veteran now, competing in back-to-back World Championships. There's no stage that's too big for her, so she will be a force in the Open for sure. Finally, we had Joseph Tyler of the Tyler clan. The Tyler kids are all super strong. You know, there's JT, and then there's Ann that are all out there competing as well. JT went to the bench press world championships in South Africa and did really well for the U.S. national team. He didn't finish in first, which he's definitely strong enough to, but because of some food poisoning or something or other, he wasn't able to do it. But Joseph Tyler, his younger brother, was able to come here to these world championships and absolutely handle business. I think he was nominated in third. He finished in second. And again, it was a five-way battle. The lifter in first place, hats off to him, Scanlon from New Zealand. He's been here all week cheering on our team. He made quick friends with a lot of our equipped lifters on the U.S. national team. He's been cheering on Team USA the whole week, and hats off to him. He won by a considerable margin. I think he ended up winning by something like 20 kilos. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Let's see. Is it updated? No, it is not. So we don't have the updated standings, but I think he won by something like 20 kilos, something like that. And but from second through sixth was all basically 2.5 kilos apart going into the final deadlifts. There was tons of jockeying. There was tons of waiting and seeing. Team USA put in a placeholder third attempt deadlift so that we could wait and see where the other lifters were. Joseph did not have a body weight advantage on any of the lifters that he was competing against. He did not have a lot number advantage either, so he had to win outright by 2.5 kilos. The lifter from Great Britain went out and made his third pull, which forced Joseph to have to go up 2.5 kilos. I asked Coach John Burford at the end in the warm-up room, showing him the video from Joseph's second attempt, how many more kilos do you think he has? And we both thought it was about 10 kilos. Well, with the lifter from Great Britain making his third pull, we had to bump it up another 2.5. So Joseph had to take a 12.5 kilo jump. We all thought maybe it was going to be close. It was going to be possibly too much for Joseph, but nope, it was not. He was able to pull it. He actually looked like he pulled it pretty smooth, and the kid, all of his lifts kind of look hard, like even his openers, they don't look like super easy, but nonetheless, he was able to pull it off. He can grind. He's super strong. So Joseph Tyler pulls off the huge victory. I mean, finishing in second place is a huge victory for him as a sub-junior in the 83 kilo weight class. And yeah, so that should have Team USA pretty high in the rankings. I'm going to try one more time here to refresh the score sheet and see if it comes through really quickly here. And we'll see if we can see the updated standings. No, it's only updated through 74s. So unfortunately, we can't quite exactly get a count on where Team USA stands after yesterday's performance. But for the sub-junior men, we were already in first place, 41-21. I think Joseph pretty much has locked that for us with his second place finish in the 83s, so that should be a done deal. Nick Gaines is still sitting in first from as far as I can see with his 96 good lift points for best lifter. The men's junior team was sitting in fourth going into yesterday, and I don't believe that anything on that will have changed because we had no junior lifters lifting yesterday. We are currently sitting with 20 points. Singapore is in first with 32. I do expect these standings to change a lot today because we have Connor Heim and Alex Sador, and we have Shane Nutt, and we've got Peyton Johnson coming up today. So all of them are looking like they could possibly get on the podium. We should have quite a few really strong finishers, maybe even a couple of new world champions on the men's junior team today, which should skyrocket us up into first place on that side of the coin. And then on the women's team, again, we don't have updated standings, but U.S. was sitting in was sitting in second place with 30 points versus Great Britain's 33. I don't think that anything too much will have changed from that. The sub-junior we had yesterday was just Amelia Gherkin, which she was not on the podium, so I don't think it will change too much. We might just go up a point or two. And then when it comes to the junior women, we're sitting all the way down in 15th place. That's definitely going to go up because Carolyn Connor and Jess Kinney both finishing in 4th place, going to net us quite a few points there. So Team USA will be going up to hopefully sitting somewhere around 2nd or 3rd. And then, of course, we'll have more women lifting as well as the competition unfolds tomorrow. So with that being said, today, quick little update on what's going on. So we've got Connor Heim and Alex Sador in the first session. If you know anything about these 83 kilo juniors, you know that they both cut to make the weight. I believe that Alex made weight fine. I didn't see him walking around. Connor, I know, had a very difficult weight cut. He was extremely nervous about his weight all week. I saw him this morning. He had just came out of sitting in a sauna for several hours. He was sweating. I'm assuming that at this point that he made weight. Someone would have told me if he didn't. Luke Mellon over here, producer extraordinaire, is saying yes. What do you have for me? Okay, Luke is going to pull it up for me, but I'm sure Connor made weight. If he made weight, then that's going to be a problem for other lifters in this class because Connor told me this morning, as I got to speak with him very briefly, that if he makes weight, that will be the hardest thing that he has to do today. Go ahead, Luke.
Connor weighed in at 82.45. Alex right at 83 kilos even.
Wow. So Alex, I mean, we knew that both of these lifters cut. We knew that both of these lifters are right on the edge of this weight class. So that's fantastic. I think they're both going to be super strong today. Connor was nominated in 6th place. Alex was nominated in 11th place. It's an extremely tight battle. If you want to look at basically from 4th place, all the way down to 13th place, you have about 20 kilos separating, which for junior lifters, anything can happen. Go ahead, Luke.
Based on their openers right now, Connor is sitting in 4th. Alex is sitting in 7th. But there's a lot of wiggle room in there.
Yeah, so based on openers, 4th and 7th, that's already higher than where they're placed. I think if you know anything about the U.S. national team and the way that attempt selection works on our squad, kind of going from that sort of Matt Gary school of attempt selection is that you're going to get an easy opener and you're going to make some slightly bigger jumps. A lot of the other countries out here, especially I'm seeing Team France and Team Italy are nominated 1, 2, 3. A lot of those countries open heavy and make small jumps. So if we're nominated 4th and we're going to open light and make bigger jumps, that's a really good sign there for those two guys. And again, it's a problem if they make weight because they're big boys. They're really filling out this weight class. Do you know how many lifters are in? There's going to be 2 flights, and it looks like there's 28 lifters, which if all of them showed up, that would be 2 flights of 14, which would give them about 45 minutes, additional 45 minutes of recomp time, waiting for flight 1 to lift. Is that about right, Luke?
Yeah, I've got 28 on our referee schedule as well.
Perfect. So
it looks like everybody's here.
Looks like everybody's here. So it looks like our boys, after weighing in, they probably have about an hour after weigh-in to already start recomping. Then they'll also, before the competition starts, then they'll have an additional 45 minutes while flight 1 goes through all 3 of their squats. So they're going to have plenty of time to recomp. Like I said, that is a problem for everyone else because if these boys are coming in big and fully recomped, fully hydrated and feeling good, they're going to do something special. Connor has been telling me all week that he has got something up his sleeve. He hasn't said what it is, but he's telling me that he is expecting an epic performance. I think this might be his last run as an 83. He's having a lot of problems, making the cuts. He said he really hates the cuts, but he said if he makes weight, it's going to be trouble for everyone else in this weight class. So let's see how it goes today. That should be pretty awesome. They had a pretty good battle in Scottsdale, so I'm looking forward to seeing. You will notice Connor. He will definitely, he's got a headband, America headband. He's a very noticeable look to him. And then Alex Sador, he's like kind of an OG veteran, even though he's a junior lifter. He's competed quite a bit. He's a coach. He's really smart. You've seen him on the Monday Night Live podcast before. We'll definitely do an interview with him after this, get his recaps, and we'll be back here after this for a press conference with both of them as well. Then in the second session, it's the rematch that everyone has been waiting for. I think hopefully will come down to two USA lifters here in first place, and that is Shane Nutt and Peyton Johnson in the 93 kilo junior class. They had a epic battle at nationals, came down to the last pulls. There was some strategy involved. Shane ended up getting the better of Peyton, owing a lot to his coach and game day handler, Chloe Dublin, who put in some attempt that was able to stretch both of them beyond their means. And at that point, Shane was ahead. They both missed their final deadlift, and Shane ended up winning. But Shane, if you go just yesterday, roughly maybe 36 hours ago, I posted the Shane Nutt interview. So go and listen to it. He talks about it. He talks a little bit about the strategy that Chloe had implemented there. And he gives a little bit of just, story about his whole training coming into these world championships, his expectations, and what he's planning on doing here. He's a lot of little tidbits. Shane, I mentioned that Alex is like an OG veteran. Shane legit is an OG veteran. Like, he is like the father figure on this team for all these young kids. Everywhere he goes, I mean, he handles himself with such maturity that of an open lifter, basically. I mean, he's been competing for a long time. And if you go back and listen through that episode, he gives tons and tons of words of wisdom. But he's nominated in second. Peyton's nominated in fifth. But as we know, on that podcast, Shane Nutt said that Peyton was stronger than him that day, and that if it wasn't for the smart attempt selections that Chloe made, he might have been pushed to his limit. He might have been pushed beyond his limit. He thinks the world of Peyton Johnson. They've been here hanging out all week together, running around. They're boys now. If you know anything about the World Championships, you know that this is where lifetime bonds are made. Last year at these World Championships, Shane Nutt bonded with his competitor Alex Olarte and Anthony McNaughton, and they were all invited to his wedding that happened recently. So I think if Shane were to be getting married next summer, we can safely say that Peyton Johnson would get an invite. But Luke, were you going to add something? Go ahead, Luke.
Well, just Engineering Poker in the chat is asking if openers are in yet.
Yeah.
Which I can confirm. Openers are in on goodlift.info.
Oh, okay. Openers are on goodlift.info, and Luke also mentioned before that our lifters are nominated. What did you say, in fourth and sixth? That was in the 83s. We're talking 83s. Openers are probably not in for the 93s.
For the 93s, no, but for the 83s, yes.
83s, yes, and we're nominated fourth and sixth.
I think I may have just missed this comment from earlier.
Oh, okay, no problem. We're coming back to your comment there, man. So fourth and sixth, is that what you were saying? Yeah. Fourth and seventh. So fourth for Connor, seventh for Alex. And as we mentioned before with the temp selection that U.S. national team makes, that bodes quite well. But getting back to what I was talking about in the 93s, these guys are boys now. They're friends. It's going to be a fun battle. They're going to be rooting for each other. They're going to be cheering each other on. The U.S. national team is going to be in really high spirits. If you don't know, Yulong from Sweden, who won the World Championships last year, he made I don't even know if I'd say it was a cryptic post, but he made a post right before everyone was getting ready to get on a plane and come over here to these World Championships, what feels like a month ago, but really was like 9 days ago, where he said, basically, I've accomplished everything I want to accomplish in the in powerlifting, and I want to move on, and basically saying that, kind of this is his retirement tour, kind of doing a Luke Mellon walk-off home run send-off. And he's so I don't know what that means. Is that a head fake or what is going on with that? But Shane had told me, Shane was the one who sent me the post, and he told me that his previous couple of posts, he failed several lifts, several heavy lifts in his posts, and that maybe his training wasn't going that well, and that maybe he's just going to kind of come and, check the boxes or something and then bounce. So I really don't know what to think, but given that Yulong made that post, I think the U.S. national team should be favorites here for 1 and 2, which would almost certainly lock us in for team gold medal to come away with first place for the U.S. national team, give everyone that participated on the U.S. national team a gold medal, which would be amazing. So hopefully that will happen. We'll have to wait and see how the day unfolds. I know that both Shane and Peyton are also like right there at weight. Shane, I was able to eat breakfast with him and Jessica Kinney yesterday. He was in really high spirits. He was eating food. He's like says he's great on weight. He's not having any kind of real problems. I had breakfast with Peyton Johnson this morning. He's in really high spirits, super calm. They've both been all around the venue all week cheering on the U.S. national team. But they both yesterday were very chilled out. They were only around briefly. They were rested up. They were getting ready for the big battle today. So I think they're going to be having a good one. I know Peyton, I just literally watched him eat like 4 hard-boiled eggs and like a couple of fried eggs and some bread and stuff. So he must be feeling good with his weight cut. So I think if they're both strong, they're both eating up into this competition today, that's going to be a good sign for them that they're going to be fueled up and ready to go. So I'm expecting big things from those boys. All right. Well, I think that is pretty much everything for the pregame show today. Don't forget, first of all of our U.S. national meets are up on the calendar. Registration is live and open for all 6 of the national championships. If you look below, every one of these, we have the link below. Every YouTube video that you're going to have, every podcast that we're going to have going forward for the next 6 months is going to have all of the links so you can easily click over, register for those competitions. We're already getting a flood of registrations, so make sure you get your registration in. We do not want to have any kind of mishaps with the meet filling up too fast. If you want to compete in these national championships, make sure you do it. I know that for the Open and for most of the teams, the qualifying to get in is just simply a total in a Powerlifting America meet since this essentially, what was it, April 2022, something like that.
It's basically a total within
the last 2 years.
Between the first national meet of whatever
of
meet you want
America
to sign up for.
Yeah.
To the day before the meet in 2024. All the specific dates are listed on the website.
Yep. All the dates are out there on the website. Click through and check that out. We got amazing venues. They're going to be huge productions. We're definitely leveling up our national championships this year. It's going to be different this year. Some of them are going to be held in tandem with the World Championships. University is going to be held in tandem with the Open National Championships. The age division nationals are going to be held in tandem with the Bench Press World Championships. So it's going to be a world's level production for our juniors, sub-juniors, and masters and equipped lifters. So it's going to be a fantastic season, a national championship season for Powerlifting America. Definitely check that out. Like I said before, we'll be back here again. If you do only one thing, make sure you're following Powerlifting_America on Instagram. This is where we will always be posting the most up-to-date information about everything that we do with Powerlifting America. It's where we'll be posting the links to all of the live streams as we go throughout today. It's where we'll be doing little behind-the-scenes interviews, little behind-the-scenes coverage. It's where the first place on social media where you're going to see some of the big lifts. If any of these lifters are going 3 for 3 or putting up big numbers, we'll post it on Instagram story. Make sure and follow there. Then we'll be right back here for a post-competition press conference. We will have Connor Heim, Alex Sador, Shane Nutt, and Peyton Johnson, and any of their coaches that are here with them. We'll all be sitting right here at this desk later on today for a live question session. So if you want to tune in on YouTube, then you can ask questions in the chat and see what they have to say. Maybe there will be some crazy story that happens today, like the Kyle Nomak story or the Bella Vargas story, and we'll be able to have them in here and talking about it. So make sure you tune in for that. And then we'll be back again tomorrow with another pregame show where we can recap everything that happened today and preview what's happening on day 10 of these World Championships. With that, let's go ahead and sign off. Thank you for everyone who listens to the Powerlifting America pregame show, and we'll catch you right back here for the press conferences later today. Thank you.